Hey everybody, it's Darren Cheek from Ozark Mountain Hookers. Alright, I'm going to show you the skinning process and the best way I found to do these otters. I'm going to show the whole process. I'm going to show from skinning, to fleshing, to boarding, to gland removal, everything you need to know to catch these otters and get the most out of them. And I know a lot of guys have a question on doing these otters. They make them out to be a lot harder than they really are. So I have 6 otters that I caught on this first check that I'm going to have to skin. I'm going to skin them all today. I don't know if I'll get them all fleshed and boarded today, but I'm going to get them all skinned today. And I do every otter exactly the same after I get them all done this way. So what I'm going to start off with doing is removing the tail, getting an inspection window started, and getting this otter ready for skinning. And get it ready for market. So the first step I do, well, the first thing I have here, I always wear black latex gloves. I use a scalpel. You can buy these online for pretty cheap. And I use a number 22 blade. So I have a sharp knife every time I go to start skinning these. I always have a comb. I comb them out. I keep them damp. Whenever I go to skin them and flesh them, you'll see I have a spray bottle where I use to keep the otter moist. I want him moist. I don't want him dry when I'm skinning him. And more importantly, fleshing him. So to start off, I start with the tail. And right around the anus, the top of the anus here, I make a quick cut. Incision, this knife is extremely sharp, and that just keeps it so you don't have a jagged line running down the tail. Open this otter up right here. And right on the otter tail, his tailbone, there's almost a little, the way the bone sets, it's almost a little line showing you how to, right where to cut. You can see right there's what I'm talking about. That bone, and that'll help you kind of guide keeping your cut straight. The tip of the tail can kind of be tricky. Alright, now I'm going to make an inspection window. I'm going to spread him out as best I can. And I'm going to start right here at the ankle. And I'm going to run it right straight through there over the testicles on a male. I'm going to go this side and do the same thing. And that is where your inspection window is going to be. Don't want to have to get too deep on them. Now we're going to wring out the legs. Same thing on this side. Otters have really tough fur, so they're kind of hard to rip. Now, I'm gonna start by skinning around now. I'm going to work right off the side of the tail. Now you don't want to go too deep right here, you're going to get a gland, and you're going to have a stinky, stinky surprise. And you'll be able to see these glands. You can start to see that gland. That gland is right there. That's very important. That's valuable. You want it. You want to save it. If not, to trade, catch enough of them to trade to a lure maker or bait maker for save you some money on your lure and bait. But just to save for yourself. It has a lot of value when it comes to lure making, and it has a lot of value when it comes to your own trap line. You can really use those glands to catch other otter, but more importantly, you can use those glands to catch coyote, fox, bobcat. Everything's interested in those glands. Just like meat glands. Then again on this side, same thing. I successfully got right around that otter's gland. You could probably, if you weren't in a hurry and didn't mind, you could probably clean skin these otter, at least around their tail, so you don't have to flush as much. But to me, the tail's the easiest part to flush. A lot of guys have the most trouble with the tail, but to me, the tail is the easiest part of the otter to get done when it comes to flushing him. All right. I should have had a pair of my pliers in here with me, but I don't have them. Now we got that part done. I'll wring out these front legs. I ring up my front legs down by the wrist, but it's really not necessary because the way I put them on the board, I end up cutting a lot of that off and then stapling it shut. Get this leg on around. Now that otter is ready to go hang up on the grapple to get skinned. Hey everybody, it's Darren Chick from Ozark Mountain Lures. So we got the otter skinned down to pass its tail on its back legs to hit the bramble and start finishing the skinning. So what I laid out here is everything that I like to have handy when I am skinning. I like to keep my otter's fur wet, moist during the skinning and flushing process. So I keep a spray bottle, just tap water, spray him down real good, make sure he's moist. That helps with singeing. I like to keep that available. I like to keep my, I think this is a grizzle getter knife and an ulu. I like that for the flushing, mostly, not really the skidding. I keep a comb, I keep my beaver knife, and I keep my scalpel and blades. That's what I do most of my skinning with. We'll get this thing going, show the skinning process, and then we'll move to the flushing. So we got the skin down to this far, down past the penis, cut the penis from the skin. Sometimes these otters, you can pull them down without having to cut very much. Sometimes you have to cut the whole thing away. Just to feel like on this otter here, he's skinning by himself. He's also a small otter, so it may take a little less work than a big male. Pulling quite a bit of weight down there. Roll him up, get him off here. Take our knife and cut right here, just the back neck around the legs. I have a tool I call a worm that I use on coon that'll also work on these, but I don't have it handy. So what I use when I don't have that, something most people have that they can utilize here, is what I call a large rat tail file. Go get that. Got my fire going. It's nice to have when you're skinning and working fur, keep you warm. Those are great investments if you're in a shop that don't have heat. It also gives the one thing I like about it, not just the heat, but the nostalgia of skinning fur and working fur around a wood burning stove. got the skin off. Go down here to the ears, right into the ears. Through the first ear. Second ear. Now we're hitting the mouth area because we're getting close to the eye. There's the eye, first eye out. The main thing on skinning these otter and the more time-consuming part of it. Now this bottom jaw does not have any fur value, so I can cut off. Anyways, the most time-consuming part of doing an otter, in my opinion, is indeed the back, the tail, and the back legs. That does more of your time-consuming work than anything. So that's just something to think about. Now, before I shut off the video, to finish the rest of these otters, I'm going to show gland collecting. The glands that I take are mostly just the anal glands, which is right here. I don't know if you can see that very well. Now this is the anal glands right here. There's not much fat on this one, so I don't have to worry about skinning the fat off, just taking the gland off. Just lift that gland up, kind of like you're doing a caster. Now there's some fat right here. We don't want that fat on there. Or I don't want that fat on there. I don't know about you. That kills these sulfides in these glands. So I want the fat removed, as much of it as I can. So that's got to go. Now we got the gland pulled forward. Now here's some fat right here. That's all fat, we don't need to get rid of that. Now we just got a gland, an anus, and no fat. And that's how we want our otter glands. One thing I also do is go up here and get in the belly and see if there's a full bladder, which has been dealt. Many of them won't. I take it. All right, it's kind of dark. I hope you guys can see this. Oh, it's so dark in here right now. I'm gonna go ahead and show fleshing this otter. I got all of them skinned. It took me about an hour to get them all skinned because I got all the tails and the window cut and had the tail already done and off. And that's an hour skinning along with gland removal. And I sell skulls, so that's also skull removal. All right, like I said, I like these otters to be moist when they're getting fleshed and stretched. So, first thing I'm going to do, now I got the otter moist, is go ahead and turn him inside out for the fleshing. I use a couple different tools for fleshing. My main go-to is a green Sheffield knife. It's old, but it was given to me when I was about 15 years old from a fur buyer named Joe DeRee. Told me if I fleshed coon for him one winter that he'd he'd bought a couple of them brand new and he said, give me one. And I done coon for him, and he gave it to me as a gift. So it's done thousands of coon on it and hundreds of otter and different fur bearers, and I've never had to sharpen it or do anything with it. They're very expensive knives. If you ever get the chance to own one, you need to get one. That's my main go-to knife. Then besides that, I do use my beaver knife some on the fleshing, just to get it started at the tail. I always kind of make a little cut. I know some guys that can flesh a whole otter with these things. Not me. Or you can use your grizzle getter. A lot of guys can flesh a whole tail. I just end up putting some holes in it. I can do a few. I can do it if I'm sitting down concentrating, but not really time efficient. This many otter to do using that, so I'll use my Sheffield knife. The tail is what everybody talks about being the hardest thing to do. To me, it's not. Kind of work the knife towards the side. That's pretty simple. Got that about halfway done now. Hold on, I need to take these gloves off. Can't hold on that knife as good. Right about the last 6 inches of the tail gets somewhat difficult to do for some reason on these. And that's usually when I switch over to my beaver knife. No bigger than this otter is. That bird tail would be that hard to do. See, that's why I don't like using a beaver knife on these tails. I have a tendency to cut into the tail with it. My goodness, I'm having a hard time on this one. All right, that tail is done. Easy peasy pieces here. Come off. All right, now do the main body. Flip him over. Got to be careful here. I make a slice through this membrane right behind the ears. If you're not watching, we'll put a hole in it doing this. You want to do it very easily, just barely cut that membrane. That makes it easier to start. It's a goat. You got to do it for big otter. I have to do it for big otter. The neck is no different than imagine doing a big boar coon's neck. About the same. On otter. You can cut it, but you're doing it right. There we go, we're getting her started now. Right around between the front legs. It's real hard for me a lot of times. All right, almost got this one done, and it's taken us so far, talking 8 minutes. Could have probably had it done in about, whole thing done in about 8 minutes, but flip it. Belly. Flip it back over. Side actually. My dog will eat anything. He actually eats some of his beaver scraps, or otter scraps. Vultures don't hardly want to eat these damn things. Around where the penis is, that's usually kind of tough to get off there. All right, that otter is bought and paid for as far as flushing goes. Knock a little bit right off here. That otter is done. All right, now let's get this otter put up on a board. The way I do it now, I carry a knife, a sharp knife, about 4 push pins, and a stapler to do my otter. And I want to do them fast because I've got quite a few to do usually. And this is the quickest way I found to do it. Stick a push pin there and a push pin on the tail side. And that push pin right here. That's just to hold that otter tight. Now we got 2 push pins here at the window. So now we got our push pins in. I'm simply going to take my stapler and put it half on the otter skin and half on the board. You don't know if pliers get these staples out if you're wondering. Now, put one there and one there at the base of the tail. Those out of the way. Now we got that done, we're going to do this tail. I like to spread the tail out straight and as even as possible. I don't really pleat my otter tails. I used to, and there ain't nothing wrong with doing that. But this is just a little faster, and I think this is good. Now we're going to go down this and just every inch. Where we put a staple on one side, we're going to put it on the other. Shoot. That didn't work. Pull that one out. So now we got them every inch. We're going to go in between every one. Oh, I'm out of staples. Should have reloaded before I started. Reloaded and ready to go. All right, that otter tail's done. That was quick. All right, now front legs or his back legs are down. Now we're going to do his front leg holes. choose all that one. I got this one a little bit big. I'll fix that. So that's done. Cut that bottom jaw off. That ain't no good. Make it look a little more uniform. Now we're going to make our inspection window a tad bit bigger. Now we're going to staple that down, staple that one down. That otter is ready. Now I just got to put a wedge in. And we are ready for might have to get a different wedge. This one's broken. There. Got the wedge in. Got the otter put on the board. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.